All right, Kasey, we start out with questions from the box.
Okay.
All right. Can you do me a favor, Matt, and share that on my personal page?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Are we live?
Yeah. Share that on Kasey's page as well. Hey, everybody. We're here at the Flower Box Club this morning, and I've got Kasey Mock here, and we're going to do some questions out of the box just to get warmed up.
Icebreaker questions.
Do you want to pick the question, or do you want me to pick the question?
You pick them.
Okay. I get the right to veto. Oh, that's good. What was your favorite childhood meal?
My grandmother made a mean biscuits and gravy.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'd have chicken fried steak with biscuits and gravy. Grew up in a very country family, so that's a good country meal.
It is a country meal.
Sticks to your ribs, good stuff.
It does.
Yeah.
You didn't get fat then, though.
We worked too hard to get fat.
Right? You moved a lot more.
Yeah, we would get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and do chores, and then do chores after we got back from practice, so we worked too much.
Yeah. I mean, the things that I ate as a child, if I did that now, I would be as wide as a desk.
And I run about 2 miles a day, so I don't tank up now, because I still like to eat that way.
2 miles. Man, we gotta get that up.
Yeah.
What was your grandmother's signature dish? I don't think that's... Which celebrity do people say you resemble?
Oh, man. In my own mind, or what do people say?
What have you heard?
I don't know. I probably don't remember. I don't resemble many successful celebrities, but I always envision myself being like Augustus McCrae off of Lonesome Dove or something.
Okay. All right.
Robert Duvall. He's
You
one
just
of my
have a
favorites.
unique look. Maybe that's it, you just can't be put
It's
in
No
box.
Shave November.
Yeah, that's right.
I look different every
It's
other
casual
month.
Friday around here. In
That's
case
right.
you're wondering,
That's right.
We're both in blue jeans and pretty laid back today. How many different places have you lived?
3 different homes.
Yeah?
As a married man, 3 different homes. Grew up in the same home. Lived in the same home from childhood to when I got out of college.
Where was that?
Grew up in Kyle, Texas, right down the road here.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad was a home builder. Mom was in the medical field, and we grew up on a little farm right outside of Kyle. It's a lot smaller town then than it is now.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
booming now.
It is.
It's awesome. Well, as I mentioned earlier, my name is Chad Peavy, and I'm at the Flower Box here at the Southwest Market Center in Austin, Texas, Market Center number 1. And my guest today, I'm very happy to have Kasey Mock, director of KW Farm and Ranch and owner of Mock Ranches. And happy Veterans Day to everybody out there
Absolutely.
that served. We appreciate your service, and happy Veterans Day to you. I've mentioned this on the show before, but I don't share the questions, and but I do share the topic. So Kasey's completely winging it.
I tried to get the questions ahead of time.
Yeah, you're the third, and you're the 3 for 3. I've
Yeah.
tried to get the questions ahead of time.
This will be fun, though.
It's good, and you guys can ask questions in the comment box. Just leave a question, and Matt's here today, and he's gonna field those questions, and we'll ask Kasey those questions as we go along. So anything you want to ask, just pop them in the comment box. So Kasey, I want to start out. I like to kind of understand where people are coming from.
You bet.
So tell us about, give us the sort of Cliff's Notes version of where you started your career and how you wound up to where you are today.
Okay. Fun story, man. I grew up in a very outdoorsy type of family. I always wanted to make a living in that industry. That's not the easiest industry to get rich in, but we have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right? So my same grandmother, always said, we don't pay much, but we sure eat good.
Yeah.
So that's a line I've always used. But, I got right out of college and went into our family business. My dad was a contractor. Worked with my dad for 2 years. Our second year was 2008.
Great time to start.
Yeah, insert recession as a 24-year-old home builder who understood nothing about lead generation, mind you. I mean, we were very entrepreneur, so we just ran out of leads. 2007 made a lot of money. 2008, I think I made $12,000 all year. Had a wife in college that didn't work, and so we lived on $12,000 and ran through our cash reserve. Got back to my core. I said, okay, what do I want to do? I want to make a living in the outdoors. Found an opportunity with the Texas AgriLife Extension Service, government job, consulting for landowners. Did that for a short period of time, was hired by a large land and wildlife management firm in Texas to do business development and sales for them. Great opportunity, first big professional move. Did that for 5 years, and through that firm, I was introduced to Gary Keller. Gary owns a great ranch right outside of Austin. Met Gary. It was hard to get to meet him. Gary's very protected by his team. So I basically challenged, and I think this is the turning point in my career. he had a ranch manager that I was doing a lot of work with and had built rapport with, great guy, good friend. And I went up to this gentleman and I said, look, I can make this the best ranch in the state, but I need to know what the owner is so we can accomplish his goals, not yours and not mine. Who's the owner? He said, Gary Keller. I said, like Keller Williams? He said, yes. I thought it was a small firm in Austin. I wasn't a real estate guy at that time. And so after a course of, pounding him, I get to meet Gary one Saturday, and I'm expecting something way different than what I get. And Gary walks in his Chuck Taylors and his T-shirt, not your typical broker that I had always worked with.
Yeah.
And Gary and I kicked it off. I've been working with him now for 5 years very closely. And that's morphed into my own outdoor and wildlife management firms, my own ranch team. 2014 was asked by Mary Tennant to come in as the director of the Farm and Ranch Division when we launched that, formally launched in January of 15 after a year beta test with a group of an ALC, just like you'd have her in the Market Center, all agent driven, and been doing that for 2 years while running my teams also.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that.
Very blessed man to meet the right people in my career.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great. You mentioned something I wanted to ask you about. You said you wanted to help Gary make it the best ranch.
Yep.
What makes a ranch a good ranch?
Man, it depends on what the owner wants to do. I think the biggest thing I've learned in business is our clients have goals. They may not know it, right? So we have to ask questions. Instead of telling so much, we have to ask great questions. If you spend much time around Gary, you'll observe that. Gary asks a lot of great questions. He very seldom gives you an answer. When he hired me the first month, he laid out this big business plan, and I came to him one day and said, Gary, how do I do this? Or what would you do here? He said, Kasey, if I got to give you the answer, you're the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I've never asked him for an answer since. That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So we ask a lot of questions. Gary's goals there are conservation. So we do a lot with the local transportation plans, the cities around. I was at a wastewater meeting last night where the city of Dripping Springs has a discharge plan into Onion Creek. We think that's a bad idea for Onion Creek. The city has to grow, though, and Gary's been a fundamental volunteer, landowner, stakeholder in helping with a better solution. So he's very conservation-minded on his ranch. How do we make this place better than we found it, conserve it, protect it, so long-term it's available?
So when you're doing these things, you're helping him make it the best ranch.
You bet.
Help me understand here. That doesn't sound like the job of an agent. So you've parlayed that into another business?
Yeah, we have a service company.
Okay.
So our service company does management from recreational wildlife management, all the way through to production agriculture. If somebody's into farming, the cattle industry, the commercial hunting industry, any kind of commercial agriculture, we can provide that service also. There's other firms in the state that do that are very good. You've got a gentleman here in the office that's a part of one of those firms. And so, we've built a service company. I think if you spend much time in Gary's classes or you go to Mega Camp or Family Reunion, you'll observe that also. He tells top agents, you need to create a membership community with your database. How do you go do that? Part of that is with a service company that provides something outside of real estate, right? We track numbers, and I think the industry says 78% of buyers and sellers would return to use the same agent if you gave them any value past the transaction.
Right.
And so we saw that lead generation was easier with a service company. We could build a relationship with somebody when they got ready to sell real estate. We were the first in their mind. They already trusted us if we do a good job. If your service company does a poor job, they're not going to use you, though.
Sure.
And then past the sale, the service company can service them for future business.
That's awesome. Do you see a lot of other folks doing that?
I think it's gaining some ground. I was in a mastermind with the top agents in Keller Williams last week with Gary, and that's a commonality that we see there. We see two things happening with top agents. One is expansion, team building and expansion, and the second is them creating, and everybody's trying to do it differently, right? What's your niche? I think your service business, because it's so important that it's a high quality service, it needs to probably be something you're passionate about. It can't be something you're doing to pacify your clients, because you're going to provide mediocre service and they're going to think you're providing mediocre real estate service also. Yeah. So we see a couple things with top agents: expansion, team building, and then creating some type of a membership community or service. And it's really catching on with the top agents.
outside of the things that you mentioned that you're doing with your service company, are there other folks in farm and ranch that are doing other types of service businesses, or are they all sort of following the same model that you've laid out?
Craig Bowen here in the Southwest Market Center. Craig has a very similar and a very large service company as a partner with him. They do the same thing. They're very focused on wildlife management.
Okay.
You go up through the Midwest, and there's a lot of farm management where there's, they will actually take and manage corn production or grain production on a farm, and that's their lead into real estate. So
Okay.
firms will have farm production, farm management. You go into timber areas, and there's a lot of real estate firms in my space that do timber management. A lot of it stimulates around recreation because the reality is in a good economy, there's a lot of money to be had there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. Well, it's let's play some nerd word.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with how we do this.
I'm not.
Well, okay.
I'm fresh.
I mean-
I watched your episode with Althea, and it was great.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So some of these are, you may know, I doubt it, you're not supposed to know, but you just kind of give me what you think it might mean.
Okay.
There's no prize, so if
I scored low in vocabulary in my KPA.
well,
I'm in for a rough ride here.
yeah, all right. So the first one is apoplectitious.
Repeat that one.
Apoplectitious.
Yeah, I'm a
You can
farm
see it.
boy.
Apoplectitious.
I can read it up there.
Yeah.
Is that a delicious apple? You tell me, is that a variety?
No, it's not a word.
Okay.
We just made it up.
You just made it up.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I never heard of that one.
Well, there's a reason. All right. The next one is blatherskite. This is a word. Blatherskite.
Oh my gosh. No idea, Chad.
A person who talks at great length without making much sense.
Am I a blatherskite?
Well, that's for you to decide.
We'll determine that here. The voters the people can vote.
Yeah, let's vote on that. Is Kasey a blatherskite? It's a person who talks at great length without making much sense. Maybe you could use that in your business. I don't know. Man, your client's a blatherskite. Maybe not a good negotiation
I
technique.
think I've had some of those clients.
Yeah? All right, so the next one is marosmatic. Or is it marosmatic?
I don't know.
We're going to say marosmatic.
Matt's our brain over there.
Yeah, I
I think
He came up with half of
reads
these.
it reads as marosmatic.
Marosmatic.
Oh, would that be the opposite of charismatic?
No, but that's a great guess.
I like that.
That's a great guess. It's having a good sense of smell.
Okay.
We're trying to educate the people here, Kasey.
Well, this is extreme value. See, you're doing a
That's
good
right.
job. This is extreme value.
That's right. We may parlay this into a service business.
Yes.
Maybe have a word of the day calendar.
Yes.
There
You
you
could
go.
have charismatic flower companies. There you go.
Perfect.
Nice.
There you go. There's an idea.
It's another business for you.
Zoanthropy.
Well, philanthropy means
Zoanthropy. You're
No
going to love
clue.
this one.
Okay, let's hear it.
That's good.
The delusion of a person who believes himself changed into an animal.
So, my thought was something along with a zoo.
You would have been correct.
I'd have been correct. It has to do with animals.
It's a person who believes that they've changed into an animal.
Never been that person.
You know, my other half teaches violin,
Okay.
and one of his students is a little girl. I won't give her name, but she goes into her violin lessons and she barks. And
Barks.
she's been doing this for years.
Okay.
So maybe she's zoanthropic.
My
she
son-
thinks that she's an animal.
My son thinks he's a donkey.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is a thing.
Yeah. He's 2 though.
Oh,
He's 2.
So-
Last night he actually thought he was a rocket ship.
well, he probably
He was
got
counting
beaten.
down, but he got his 3, 2, 1 in the wrong order, and he would do liftoff. Yeah.
Well, as long as we get there. All right. Well, that's word nerd.
Oh, we
Thanks
got
for
one
playing,
more.
Kasey.
Yeah.
Oh well,
I think I failed.
you did just great. You did great. There is one more. Glamdering.
Glamdering.
Yeah. This is for the actual true nerds watching on Facebook.
Glamdering.
They may get this. Glamdering.
I'm going to guess that's somebody parading around thinking they're glamorous.
That's a great guess, and it could be. What is this? Lord of the Rings. This is a Lord of the Rings
Oh,
reference.
haven't seen it.
Me either. Can't for Matt.
Matt.
It's the name.
Also,
of,
that one was for me.
It was for Matt. We're trying to keep you engaged. Name of Gandalf's sword from Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Who knows?
I bet a lot of people
I
got
knew
that
that.
one.
Well, one. For
I didn't
Matt.
even have to look it up.
Thanks, Matt. Do we have any questions for Kasey yet on Facebook?
no, not
Are you paying
right now,
attention?
not
All right.
yet.
Well, ask your
I haven't
questions,
paid
but we are going to dive into Kasey's real estate business now.
Okay.
So I've always been intrigued by folks at KW who are in leadership positions and also run a business. And so
Very unique in our company.
it is very unique. Tell us about how that works. How is that not a conflict of interest?
Okay.
And how do you manage both of those things at a high level?
Man,
It's a lot I just threw at you, but you
oh,
get
it
where I'm
is.
going.
You've got the book right there
Yeah.
on the top, the one thing. And so in order to be successful, and this is something that Mary Tennant beat into my head when she hired me, I think Mary looked at me and said, Kasey, you will fail in this role if you cannot learn to succeed through people. In other words, you have to move from being entrepreneurial to purposeful, eat a P. If you read Millionaire Real Estate Agent, eat a P. And that's so fundamental, I think. Gary's the classic example because he's not a centralized manager. In other words, he understands how to lead. He builds an operations manual and hires the best person to put there. Gary told us last week, don't master management, master hiring. And I've not mastered either, by the way, but we're trying to learn. So I guess I'll take your questions in order. How does it work? When I was hired here, I went out of production. I was in production and sales full time. When I was hired as the director of Farm and Ranch, I stepped away from that, and that became very much a side business. If I had time to do it, I would do it. I saw the opportunity to be around the leaders of this company and learn leadership from Gary, from at that time Mark and Mary, now John and Chris, as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'd have done it for free. I'd have walked away, found a way to bag groceries at night or something to pay bills, and would have done it for free. And so at that time it was easy because I really did have one thing. I mean, I walked away from lead generating daily for my service company. I walked away from lead generating for my real estate company. The only business I would close was through my sphere. Tight friends and family that would contact me, I want to close on this ranch, or would you list it? And I would, and if I didn't have time to do it, I'd refer it to somebody or I'd partner with somebody. And so the Farm and Ranch division for all of last year was my one thing. We were focused on growing it. We had set goals. We wanted to build a team and get in place because if you chase two rabbits, you'll catch neither.
Yep.
Right? And so we made that our rabbit that we chased. And we've now started building an operations team inside Farm and Ranch so that I can step out of operations there every day and now focus a little bit on my other businesses, which need my time, frankly. I mean, they need, they're not 10-year-old mature companies. They're at the 7th level, so they still need some time.
Yeah.
And so we go back to those businesses, and how do we keep it from being a conflict of interest? Well, one thing I committed to early on is a huge value for any of our membership divisions, whether it's commercial, luxury homes, farm and ranch, GPS, KW Young Professionals, a huge value is referrals. And so, if you look at John and Chris, they maintain a tremendously high standard. Mary, when she was here, tremendous high standard. And I had to follow that lead. And so one thing I committed early on is I've never taken and will never take a lead, an organic lead that comes through KW Farm and Ranch into my team. As long as I'm in that role, I can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be a great idea, but it's not long-lived. That's not leadership.
Right.
And so those leads all go to the agents in the field. So then my lead generation for my team, we actually don't even compete with most of the agents in the same areas of marketing. We try not to advertise in the same magazines. We try to do things differently, so they're not seeing us
That's your
directly.
personal business?
My personal business.
Okay.
Yeah, I know where the rest of our agents advertise and market and the markets they try to be in, and we honestly do our best to stay out of direct competition with them as long as I'm in that role. So we've maintained a really high standard there. I have a separate administrative staff for each company.
Okay.
So I hired a really great executive assistant, Virginia Boswell. She works for me and the businesses I do with Gary Keller. So Virginia works for me and my team for Gary's Ranch. She's my EA there. Carice McGee started with us as our Director of Operations at KW Farm and Ranch 3 weeks ago. She might actually be through her first 30 days. She's right there, about a month. So Carice works for us exclusively there. And so from admin to time blocking to delegating tasks, everything is handled separately, like Gary would show you in an org chart.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
your day-to-day, you're sitting at KWRI?
I'm at KWRI most of the time still.
Okay.
I'm phasing my daily time out there because the reality is that my impact is bigger elsewhere.
Yeah.
So my goals there are measured on growth, what type of technology we can innovate, big recruits around the country, events, training, education, but not the operations of the business.
Okay.
We're hiring an ops team there.
Well, let's dig into Farm and Ranch. What is that division? Why would an agent join that division?
Good question.
What is that about? And I also want you to hit on what brought that about. Why now?
So in early 2014, when I got into the business, there was a group, which we now call our ALC, our Farm and Ranch ALC, that was masterminding just as a group of agents from around the country. There were 10 of us that were in Keller Williams. We'd all determined that this was the best place to build wealth and build a company. But Keller Williams didn't have a Farm and Ranch division. I actually told Gary that when I got into the business. Gary and I were sitting in a deer blind one day, and I said, hey, man, I want to get into real estate because I'm consulting for a lot of other agents. I feel like we understand land better than them. He said, all right, go do it. I said, well, the problem is, man, you don't have a Farm and Ranch division or anything for me, and I'm going to be new to real estate. He said, fair enough. So I went and interviewed all of our competitors. I won't name them, but I interviewed all the focused land competitors and came back and determined there was not a business model in the farm and ranch industry that was attractive for me to go build wealth as a business owner. There were places to go plug in as an agent, right, on a really heavy split.
Yeah.
Nowhere for me as a business owner to go build wealth and build my company, my brand, or at that time I was partners with Craig Bowen, one of my best friends. No place for us to go build our brand. So I came back to Gary and I said, okay, you win. You got the best business model. He knew that. But you still don't have anything for farm and ranch. He said, okay, go talk to Mary. So I met with Mary Tennant, and at that time, there was already this ALC happening. I got on this ALC, and we masterminded for a year with what we wanted as agents. How do we provide value to our customers? How do we make money? We modeled after luxury and commercial loosely. And we would bring what we wanted back to KWRI, Keller Williams Realty International, to Mary, and Danny Thompson was our staff person that we worked with at that time. And we would bring ideas back to them and see how we reached a win-win. And in November of 2014, we got really close to win-win, close enough that we wanted to roll this out. So we rolled it out, the announcement at Mega Camp. We had a booth at Family Reunion in 2015, January, or 2015 in February. And that's when we formally launched the company. So it's very agent-driven. We still maintain that ALC, just like you would in a market center or a business center, or you should on your team. We still maintain an agent-led ALC. We've got 10 members on it around the country.
Okay.
And everything that we do in that business, we run by, or that division, we run by the ALC. Every decision is run by the agents.
So what is the benefit to an agent to join that division? What are you guys doing for them?
So we focus heavily on branding and leads. And when I say branding, it's not the idea that all these agents are running around as KW Farm and Ranch agents. I would hope that they'd be the Chad Peavy Ranch Team or the Mock Ranches or Craig's Plateau Land Group or whatever.
Yeah.
I hope that that's what they want. But when they sit down in a listing presentation, this should be a tremendous listing tool for them, because they can say, and we can say this now, they're a part of the fastest growing network of land specialists in North America. We went from 0 to 250 in the last 16 months. And those are agents that have performance standards in place. They're meeting a certain production level that we have to approve their membership. It's not an endorsement. So it's not like somebody that says, I think I can make money over there and maybe I can go list my uncle's property, but I've never sold a ranch, but there's a lot of money. That's not what this is for, right? It's for true land specialists. So we bring them in once they've met this production standard. And then we support their business with training and education. We partnered with the land division of the National Association of Realtors called RLI, Realtors Land Institute. Okay. They're a strategic partner of us. I was at their National Land Conference in 2015 and said, we need something better for brokers, a better broker alliance program. And so we spearheaded that last year. This will be our second year in that program as a strategic partner with RLI. For training and education. We do multiple webinars a month, whether it's our staff or theirs. Okay. We have a live retreat that's in the spring. I think it's going to be in May this next year. It's here in Austin. I think this year we will actually have a portion of that at the Gary Keller Ranch, which would be super cool. Super cool. Big draw.
Yeah.
We're bringing some good Texas barbecue,
Nice.
Great speakers. And then we have a mastermind page on Facebook that trades a lot of business and a lot of ideas. We have exclusive breakouts at Family Reunion, ticket access at Family Reunion, and then we get into where the real value is, which would be lead generation and referrals. A big initiative we had this year in 2017 with Carice, our new hire. How do we build the KW Farm and Ranch brand in the industry without competing with our agents, because it would not be, that's against the KW model for us to be out there and compete with the agent.
Right.
So how do we build a brand so that we have more inbound leads that we just direct back on no split, right? We're not going to charge agents for leads. How do we generate more consumer awareness so that we can get leads directed to the agents? And the referral network's huge, right? If you're sending a referral for a $5 million ranch cross country and you want to keep it in the KW system, who are you going to use? You're going to use an endorsed farm and ranch agent because you know or believe anyway that they should do a good job for your client.
Okay.
And so that's really where the value is. I honestly think the more value we can provide through referrals and leads, the higher retention rate we have. The other stuff is it's too measurable, right? You can assign a value to the other stuff.
Right.
You can't to leads. It's too important.
Right. How have you done that though? Because I know with KW as a brand, it's not really our MO to go out and promote Keller Williams. So how have you as a division figured out how to walk that line?
Man, that's the toughest thing. And our agents ask that question. You know, can you as Keller Williams Farm and Ranch come into my market and sponsor this event? Or can you get us presence in this magazine? Or why don't we have a larger website? And I think you have to step back and look at the business model. And then if you're inside KW and understand the financial model too, our objective is to make, on a split basis, as little of your money as possible. Well, the more of that we do, what we know for a fact, the more of that we do, the more money we have to charge you. And actually, the more that we do, the less value you actually see. Right? If you ask one of our competitors who sponsors a Super Bowl ad, Chad, how many leads did you get off of your company's Super Bowl ad?
Yeah, that's tough.
But how much of that money, that the cost of that ad actually flows back to you in a split? A bunch. And so that's a line we have to walk. Well, fortunately today in social media, and you understand this fully, social media allows us to do a lot of things for free and build a big audience for free. We've not done a good job at that yet. That's one of Carissa's metrics of success in the coming year is how do you build? As a matter of fact, in her first 100-day plan, it's to analyze our current social media strategy, develop a new strategy, and by day 100 be implementing a new strategy. And then we've got metrics to grow that. And that just is to generate more conversations for our agents. But we don't have a big marketing budget. There's KW's outwardly facing marketing budget outside of giving is that much.
Yeah.
The market centers do some, but still very little. It's just against the model. And so we would like to have more conversations coming in for the brand so we can funnel those.
Well, tell me a little bit about the how do you compete as a division within KW? You rattled off several other divisions in KW that are all competing for attention.
You bet.
How do you as a division head go out and compete for attention amongst KW agents who are already bombarded with opportunities to join this, do this, sign up for this?
Can I use this platform to scold agents?
Yeah, please.
Check your emails.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is there's not that many ways to reach people. And unfortunately, when we send an email out to our members, we get the same open rate as the industry gets, 30 to 40% open rate.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm sending you an email that says click here to get $1,000 free. We get 30 to 40% open rate. That's all.
Yeah.
And so we realize that that's a tremendous challenge. Yesterday in our department head meeting, we talked about this. How do we get more response from agents? But in the agent's defense, and as an agent, man, we're bombarded by emails. We get way too many than you can check.
Yeah.
If you read that book, you'll ignore your emails just like they are.
That's right.
And so I think that's a changing process. We have not done good with that. But I stepped back and said, okay, as an agent, how do I reach clients at a higher level? So we started implementing to our prospects and to our associates, our members, multi-dialer. We'll use a product like, and this is an endorsement for them, but like Slide Dial or Slide Broadcast, just to call and leave a voicemail. And so,
is that effective for you guys?
Yeah. Here's how. So check this out.
I've always felt a little shady about that.
I don't know how effective it would be with property owners. I think it's too passive.
Yeah.
I've got an article that actually Brian Gubernick in Arizona sent to Gary, and Gary forwarded to me, and I'll send it to you. You may want to share it on your blog. It's awesome.
Okay.
But it talks about. I think the title of the article is, do you do the habits that unsuccessful people don't like to do? The number one thing is calling. And when you get a hold of somebody, ask for the close, right? Just don't say, I'm in town when you get ready. You got to talk them into being ready today. And so, we started implementing the multi-dollar to our associates and to our prospects. But because we're limited resources like our agents are, we leave the voicemail. But here's a metric I know that it works. If I've got a webinar coming up this Friday, a training coming up this Friday, if we just promote it through social media to our associates and through email, we might get 25 to 40 people attending out of a 250 agent base.
Yeah.
I can double that number with one voicemail broadcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doubles the number.
Good to know.
And it's pretty inexpensive. I can send like
Yes.
1,000 voicemails for $60.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And so it's pretty inexpensive. We've looked at text, group text deals, but I think if you do that too much, you'll ignore those two.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge we're working on.
We're always competing for
Always.
attention. Yeah.
Always.
So do you guys as division heads, does KWRI, do you guys strategically figure out how to go toward the agents, or is it just sort of everybody has their own plan and they just go at it? Is there any
Well, we
coordination?
try not to be siloed, and that's something that John Davis has been working with us closely on is, guys, don't be in a silo. You need to come together and mastermind on a regular basis and see what works.
Yeah.
Because it would make no sense if luxury is doing something that works and we're over here spinning our wheels and not doing it.
Yeah.
And so we try not to be siloed. I really think KW Connect, the new KW Connect platform, is going to be a tremendous platform for us to communicate with agents.
Cool.
It needs to mature a little bit. How do we communicate? How do agents get pinged where they're actually going to see it?
Right.
Is there an application, an app interface with that? I don't know. But I think Connect is going to be a tremendous tool for us.
Cool. So I had an agent in here yesterday that knew you were going to come in, and they wanted me to ask you this question. Josh Smith, Razzle Ranch Realty.
Okay. I don't know Josh.
Marissa Smith is his wife.
Okay.
Husband-wife duo. So what is the difference between farm and ranch and a commercial lot or a rural property?
Good question, Josh. I answer that based on primary use.
Okay.
Okay. You can define primary use a lot of ways. In most states, it's defined actually in the tax code, property tax code. What's the primary use? That determines your tax rate. But if you're looking at a commercial lot, like I've got several listed through my team that today are farmed in commercial agriculture, but they happen to sit right on a major highway, and the buyer is not going to be a farmer. The buyer is going to be a developer or a land speculator. I've got them listed as a farm and ranch property, but because I think the commercial is such a fundamental part of that, I reached out to a commercial broker, and I've partnered with a commercial broker on that listing. What was unique is the commercial broker would have never, or I shouldn't say would have had a much harder time getting the listing because they didn't speak the language that we did with the seller. These sellers are, on average 70 years old.
Yeah.
They're not techie people. They're not responding to marketing, but they're right in my wheelhouse and they're in my sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And so we're able to connect with the seller. They trust us to bring their property to market, but I'm honest enough to know that I may not have the tools or the specialty to sell this for the maximum dollar because I do know it's going to go to a builder or a developer.
Yeah.
And so
cross-pollination is really interesting.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
so instead of trying to be selfish and hog it all and fumbling the deal,
Yeah.
I called KW Commercial. I said, I need your top commercial broker in this area that deals in land. They referred me to a guy, and now I've got 3 properties co-listed with this guy.
That's awesome.
It's a great relationship. I'd rather take half of something than all of nothing. And that's, I think, too many of our agents get it. Too many of our agents that don't sell farm and ranch on a high level or commercial, they have an opportunity to list one, and they go chase that rabbit because they see dollar signs.
Yeah.
They'd be much better referring that or partnering with a specialist that does it.
Yeah. I've had
Yeah.
a few of them in here
Yeah.
asking, how do I do this contract? And I'm like, you came to the wrong place, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Next week, by the way, Claire Boney is going to be here in the Flowerbox Club office. Claire Boney is the productivity coach here at Austin Southwest. It's a big, big program. She and Kim Manso have done a tremendous job with that program. So tune in next Friday at 1 o'clock to see Claire Boney here for the interview. Let's do, how about lightning round? You want to do lightning round, Kasey?
Do I need some more caffeine?
Yeah. Take
Okay.
So these are just a few questions, random questions. Just rattle off your best answer. Quick answer, lightning round. All right, man. Buck or doe?
Buck.
All right. Most unexpected thing you've seen on a property?
Oh, my goodness. Most unexpected thing. We see the wildest stuff out there.
I would imagine in your business you see some wild, crazy stuff.
This one's not going to get like people's blood boiling, but let me tell you what. This is a cool one. When you get out on big properties, you cannot believe how many balloons are out there. So my town has a birthday. They let the balloons go at the birthday party. These foil balloons like you buy
Okay,
at
I didn't know
the
if you were like
grocery
hot air
store.
balloon or
No, like these
little
foil happy
Mylar-
birthday balloons. Hearts or whatever.
Yeah.
They let the balloon go. The balloon has to come, when it goes up, has to come down somewhere. So as you're in a helicopter or you're driving these big ranches, you can't imagine how many balloons are out there.
That's crazy.
That's something most people never expect. What's that shining out there? That's a balloon, man.
Balloon.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's not going to get much people excited, but
That's a good answer, though. Some things you don't expect. All right, best place to buy land in Central Texas right now.
there's a hot market about an hour and a half north of Austin.
Okay.
High values have not gotten there yet, but they're catching up.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer, though, that cheap real estate always sells cheap. And so if you want to buy good real estate, it's expensive. It's probably worth it if you can afford it. Areas around Dripping Springs, let's say, 2 years ago we could have bought land for $10,000 an acre. Now it's $25,000 and $30,000 an acre.
Okay.
Wish you'd have bought more of it then, right? So that's always good. I think investment farm ground, irrigated farm ground, income-producing farm ground is one of the best investments you can make in today's financial market. We've got a lot of foreign investors looking at that.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. What is your dream outdoor adventure? Where do you
I'd
want
love to go to Alaska.
Okay.
I've hunted all over the country. I'm a big hunter, and no apologies for it. That's just me. I'd love to go to Alaska, in the backcountry, flying on a float plane, stay for a couple of weeks. Honestly, don't care if I harvest anything. I just want to go to Alaska.
go.
I go into the wilderness of Colorado and the western states every year for a week on a backpack trip with my best friends. We've actually on our podcast have a discussion about that and a big blog about it. So I'd love to go to Alaska, though. It's the last frontier, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywhere outside of the U.S.?
New Zealand would be fun.
Yeah, that's on the list.
New Zealand definitely would be fun.
Yeah, got it.
There's some places in Australia that would be pretty fun to go hunt buffalo or something. Not a whole lot of interest in South Africa. A lot of people like to go to South Africa.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of interest.
I just got back from there.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Pretty awesome.
It's yeah. Do you have any desire for the exotic? Does that get you going?
Yeah, I really enjoy them. I work in the exotic wildlife industry pretty heavily.
Yeah.
I really enjoy them. It's really cool to see those species.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Last one, farm or ranch?
In our industry, there's a big difference in the farmer and the rancher.
Yeah.
Culturally, a huge difference. Great people. I'd probably lean towards the ranch side
All
for
right.
me personally.
Let's see. Good answers, man. Let's talk about the future of KW Farm and Ranch.
Okay.
Where's the opportunity? What does the future of Farm and Ranch look like? What are you hopeful for?
I'm going to give you the team leader script that I give team leaders.
Okay.
Team leader calls me and says, I've got a big recruit, a farm and ranch recruit. How do I recruit him? I said, just like you would a mega agent in residential. You sell them on Keller Williams. We can all agree, I hope, in this room that Keller Williams is the best place to build wealth and build a company.
Yep.
Perfect. Farm and ranch is just a support mechanism for that. So get them to buy into Keller Williams, the value of Keller Williams, and that comes with team building. One of the largest opportunities in business is owning a real estate team. Expansion teams is an extension of that. We haven't quite figured that out. We haven't mastered that yet. There's some guys that are getting really close.
Yeah.
Haven't mastered that yet. But
you looking into that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I think it's weird.
It's
I'm not sold, and I know I'm probably in the minority.
yeah. I
But
think
I'm
it's a
not
tremendous
sold.
opportunity. I think expansion is a tremendous opportunity.
Why? So if I'm going to go build a team here, do a really good job with that.
Yep.
Gary talks about the attractive character. You build an attractive character around that,
You
right?
got be the interesting figure in the room.
What makes me attractive in St. Louis where I'm not? And why would an agent in Keller Williams in St. Louis decide to join the Chad Peavy team there? What value do I bring that somebody that's there wouldn't give them?
So I think you've got the model backwards.
All right.
Okay. Instead of you, Chad, saying I want to go to St. Louis,
Yeah.
you do what Wendy Pabazan did.
Yeah.
Wendy lost Roz on her team, who is incredible.
Yeah.
Where's Roz go? St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah.
Wendy says, I'm not letting you out of my life, so I'm coming to St. Louis with you. Okay, the only way that works is if you've built a really successful, proven model here in your hub. If your business here is not running fluidly, if you haven't mastered your business in your first location, you have no business expanding. There's very few people that actually should expand in my mind. I get to hang out with a lot of them. Ben Kinney's in I don't have any locations, a ton.
Yeah.
Adam Hergenrother's got a ton of locations. Wendy has several locations. I get to hang out with these people. It's really cool. If you the more you have mastered hiring, not management, but hiring, having the right people in your team, and your people on your team have mastered the systems and built models, that gives you an opportunity to expand around a person. So you might go to St. Louis or wherever, Dallas-Fort Worth, wherever you decide to go. You only go there if you have the right person and the leads. You have to lead with the leads. If you don't have leads there, you have no business going there. And we see a lot of people hiring out of pain, but they don't have the leads. Me as an example, I think a farm and ranch agent in our industry, right here in Texas. Now this is different across the country. I talked to a colleague in Oklahoma this morning, and he's got to get to like 100 listings a year to close $50 million because his price point's so low, right? So my goal next year is $100 million. I don't have to get 50 listings to get to $100 million. I think one agent in our market here with a really good admin team, one agent, not hiring a buyer's agent or a listing specialist, can do $50 million. That's a lot of money for one agent.
Yeah, it is.
So that requires you mastering your systems, and then you can take that lead generation model, that administrative model, and when you find the right person, now they don't get out of your life. And so I think me as a business, if I'm going to insert another question because I think it's applicable here, and I'm not trying to take over the deal here, but I'm going to insert another question.
Do whatever you want, Kasey.
So if you were to ask me, what are the biggest regrets you have in business?
Yeah.
For me, it's been the talent that has gotten out of my life because I was not in a point to hire them. The only way I know to fix that is to think bigger and build bigger systems that support that, okay? And so if I've got those systems in place, that doesn't mean I rush out and expand tomorrow, or I rush out and hire somebody tomorrow. Now I work on mastering lead generation for talent. I build a pipeline. When the right person comes into my life or comes across my desk or comes through this market center, I'm in line to hire them.
Yeah. And
I can pay them more than you can because I've got better models and I've got predictable business. And so that's to me how expansion works. If you're not there, you probably shouldn't expand. It is very counterintuitive. The industry wasn't ready for it when agents started doing it.
Yeah.
They led with leads. You look at Brian Gubernick and Jason Abrams, some of the first in expansion. They pioneered this deal because they had so many leads that they were sending out. They said, I think I can handle those. I think I can handle those. I'm going to put a person there and see if this works. And it's a learning process, but I think it's a tremendous opportunity.
A lot of new stuff going on. It's exciting times at KW.
It's very fun. Our industry's changing. It's a very fun industry. It's very rewarding.
Yeah.
But people have to be very intentional about their activities if they want to be successful.
A lot of distractions. A lot of possibilities for distractions.
Lots of distractions.
Yeah. And more seem to be coming out every day.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Any questions? Yeah.
Speaking, that's actually a good segue to our Facebook question.
Awesome.
Emily says that she sees on your social media that you're an avid lover of the outdoors, and what is your biggest tip for maintaining a healthy work-life balance?
Oh man! So I talked to my best friend on our podcast a couple of weeks ago about this.
Which is what, by the way?
It's called Bucks to Business, and so you can find us on iTunes.
Okay.
Bucks to Business podcast.
All right.
We go interview the amazing, interesting entrepreneurs and people in the outdoor industry behind the brands that you know. Okay. So we just launched episode 1 last week. Episode 2 comes out Monday.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's fun stuff. I didn't need another job, but I took one on anyway. I had no idea how much work it would be. Wow.
Yeah, we gave up on the podcast idea.
Yeah, it's a ton of work.
It's a ton of work.
But I think, and Gary talks about this. Gary pounds this into me. Look, if you get into this industry because you love it, if you get into the outdoor industry because you love it, why would you ever make the work more important than what you love?
Yeah.
So I've got a good friend in Houston, Chris Leonard, who's big into distribution and outdoor products. He's a big hunter. He's a tremendous guy. But Chris and I were driving back from Colorado in September, and we were talking. He said, man, there's just days that the last thing I want to talk about is the outdoor industry. But he plays really hard in it to make sure he keeps that connection. Like if you're going to be a hitting coach in baseball, you better be hitting the ball yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Be a golf coach, you better be hitting the ball yourself. Keep that passion for it. And so I think Gary tells us when you go block your calendar out for the year, you block your time first. You block your family time, your vacation time, you block your play time first.
Yeah.
If you want to keep your priorities straight in a big life, then you block your time first. Work has to fit in what's left. I think you'll find that makes you be more efficient in your business also.
Yeah.
You think about who you hire more carefully because now we've got to get a lot more done in a smaller amount of time. It takes better people, better systems, better models. because I'm not going to sacrifice my family. I had a business partner one time that wanted to have our business meetings every Thursday afternoon after work, like at 5:30. Mm-hmm. And I looked up and said, I tell you what that sounds like. I understand why, because you don't want to interfere with productive time. But I tell you what that sounds like to me. That sounds like 52 evenings a year away from my family. Mm-hmm. I'm not willing to give you that.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to give my hobbies. And so I booked that stuff in my calendar first. Family comes first, then my hobbies. Into my calendar. Work has to fit. That's the only way I know, because I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I was at meetings last night until midnight, and I was up this morning at 4:30.
Yeah.
And so we run on a lot of caffeine, but it's easy for me to work so much that I neglect family or neglect my hobbies, and I love those two things more. So
good
I just have to be intentional about how I do my calendar.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Any more, Matt?
No.
All right. Sounds good. Casey, thanks for
Hey,
hanging out
man.
with me today.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
This is awesome.
Good deal.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
You
everybody.
bet.
If you haven't had a chance yet to figure out what we're doing over here at the Flower Box Club, you can go to helpmymarketcenter.com and figure out what we're all about. We'd love to help more agents and more market centers across the country. And next week, 1 o'clock, right here on Facebook Live, I'll have Claire Boney, 1 o'clock. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Thanks, Casey.
Thanks, guys.